Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you are brand new here and you don't know who I am, I'm FiddlinJonny. This is my Fiddle channel and magic product review. And today we're going to do a magic product review. And I always kick off a magic product review with a little bit of fiddle. So let's do that. I tried to pick something that would fit the review today and I'm not at all successful, so you're just going to get a classic. When I mean fiddle tune, I really just mean a snippet of a fiddle tune. Anyway, hey, I'm really glad that you guys are all here. I really wanted to do something mysterious for this Lewis Le Val release, but it is called Iris, and he released it through the 1914. This is one of those products I picked up during my Black Friday magic extravaganza, spend too much money on releases, but this one was a good value, picked it up. I'm going to review it for you, so stick around and we'll get right into it. Hello everyone, thank you so much for being here. This FiddlinJonny really appreciates it. And if you come here frequently, you don't have to wait to the end to hit that like button. You can go ahead and hit that like button right away. All right, let's talk about what is Iris by Lewis Le Val and released to the 1914. It is in essence, I think I have struggled a little bit about describing what is this product. It is, I think of it like this. It's kind of like if you're a psychic reader and you have psychic abilities. It clearly falls into that category. And the reason it's called Iris is because it's very similar if you went to a psychic who does palm reading and they read the lines on your hand and do palm reading. It's in essence like that, except you're going to read the iris of their eye, or at least that is the frame. And I think that might be a real thing for some psychics, as they read your iris of your eye to foretell your future, maybe tell you a little bit about yourself. And that's what Iris is, but except it reads your eye. The performer reads the eye and essentially does a reading and does a little bit of fortune telling of your future. The thing here that makes it or distinguishes it is that you will with 100% certainty know two pieces of information in the structure of this routine, so that it gives you or amplifies your ability that you actually have real true psychic ability. So even if you don't hit everything, it's fine because you've at least got two things with 100% certainty. That's what Iris is. So let's talk a little bit about what you're going to get. So like with any release, you're going to get a tutorial, and this is a streaming and downloadable tutorial from the 1914. It is done by Lewis Le Val, and it lasts for an hour and 13 minutes in length. So it's a nice long tutorial. It's not super short, it's not super long, it's an hour and 13 minutes in length. And then in this envelope, which of course I think the 1914 does such a nice job with their packaging, you're going to get two business cards, okay, with information on both sides. Now I'm going to bring these up close to the camera so you can see them here shortly. But you're getting the tutorial, an hour and 13 minutes in length, and you're going to get these two essentially business type cards in this release. Let's talk a little bit about the instructions. Lewis Le Val does the entire instruction. He's really good. It looks nice and perfect. No problems there. I think the takeaway for me here is that this is a release where I felt like Lewis Le Val was actually pretty motivating for the newer mentalist and encouraging them around sort of their how to do cold readings in essence. I thought he did a really nice job, and it felt motivating and encouraging to, I think, somebody who might be new to building that skill set. And I think he gives the right amount of detail for you just to get started on doing cold readings and understanding how cold readings work. It's not like a deep dive, but I think it's enough, to be honest, for someone to who wants to dip their toes into cold reading, or someone wants just enough information so that they look credible. And I thought he did a nice job on the tutorial with that piece of it. All right, let's talk about these props that you're getting. They're not gimmicks, because there's nothing gimmicked about these. These are simply props. And on this first card that I'm showing you here, you're going to get on this card 4 different seasons. So you've got 2 on the front and you got 2 on the back. And you're going to ask your spectator not to say it out loud, but they're just going to look at the card and look at their specific star sign. Sorry, I shouldn't say star sign, the season under which they were born. And I know depending on where you live on the planet, your seasons may not completely align with seasons in other parts of the world, and that is addressed on this tutorial and how to manage that. But you can see it gives a brief description underneath each one of these as to sort of characteristics of people who might be born under this season. And then on the other card, you have 4 titles. You have it starting off with internal, external, physical, and mental. I don't know if that's showing up very well. You can't really see the headers very well. It almost doesn't matter when you're performing because your spectator is going to pick one of the words that are printed in white on here. They're going to pick that, they'll pick it silently, and you as the performer will know with 100% certainty which one they have chosen. And then on the back of it are the zodiac signs and the months in which the zodiacs fall. And these are basically, they're business cards. I heard on some, or read on some places that these were done with a nice plastic. These don't feel like plastic to me. They feel like they're just good paper, much like a good quality business card. That's how I see those. Which goes to how long will they last? Well, they'll last as long as they would with any sort of, I'd say, business card, and depending on how much you handle them. So if you keep them in a nice place in your wallet, they should last you a good long time, or depending on how hard you are on your props. But just know that you're getting basically it's a business card that's done with good quality paper. All right, I should mention that you don't actually have to use these. Lewis Le Val will talk in the tutorial about creating your own business cards and doing this, which you can. I personally just like using these cards themselves. I'll say one other thing about the business cards is that they don't look like props to me. These look like someone who is a psychic, something they actually might carry around with them, and they don't scream magic prop because this is not presented as a magic trick by any stretch. It is really presented as someone who does psychic readings, more of a mystical type of an approach to performance. Let's talk a little bit about what the skill level is here. If you go to the 1914, they say the skill level is some experience required, and they don't have sort of like beginner, intermediate, advanced type of a thing. They have like, I think, a 5-step process, and this falls like somewhere, out of their 5 at about a 3, I think. So some experience required. In my humble opinion, if this is your first magic trick that you've purchased, probably you're not ready to go out and perform it yet. But I think for most folks who might be looking at this, have magic experience or mentalism underneath their belt already. I think it's 100% beginner in my opinion, and that if you're a beginner mentalist, you're going to be totally fine here on this release, and you will be able to go out and start performing right away with minimal to no practice, quite frankly. There's a little bit of memory work involved in this. There is a classic mnemonic that is used in mentalism in this. So if you're a mentalist and you've been around for any length of time, you'll know the mnemonic. If you're brand new to mentalism, you'll learn a mnemonic that you can use in mentalism for the rest of your life. So it does use that. It's a little difficult to call it memory work because it's so simple that it'll take you maybe 5 minutes to memorize it, and once you've memorized it, you'll have it forever. For me, it falls clearly as a beginner level. Usually I'll talk about the pros and the cons. I think I've sort of mentioned most of like the pros and the cons. It makes great in terms of it's easy to carry. I think if you're someone who likes to perform as a character, who's more of that psychic, it's really going to be great in that department. If you're somebody who's a card magician, you may not really like this unless you do mentalism as well. I mentioned the cards don't look like magic type of things. They really look like props you might get if you went to like a New Age store where you purchase some crystals and some incense and tarot cards. That would be the type of item these cards would come from. So I think it fits nicely with the structure of the performance here. And I think that's it in terms of for my pros. On the cons side, I think the one thing I would like, I wish you could buy refills of these because I'd love to just hand these out to my spectator when I'm done to keep as sort of a memento. So I would love, my con is, I wish there were these as refills to purchase so I could just hand them out when I'm done performing. All right, I talked about who's going to like this. Let's talk about what the cost is. If you went to the 1914 today to purchase it, it looks like it is discontinued and that they have now replaced it with, I think, something called Star Sign. Don't quote me. I'll probably put it up here. So it looks like they've discontinued it and they sell it for $24. But you can find this at many retailers still because I went on the web and looked. So it's very available and runs about $30. So about 24 to 30 US dollars is what you're going to find the cost for this item, which I think is very reasonable for what you're getting on it. All right, that's it. What I have to think about Iris. I think for somebody who is an aspiring mentalist who's interested in doing cold readings and wants the confidence to know that they'll get some things correct, that Iris is probably a great release for you. All right, that's it. If you purchased it, leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of it. Also, I would love it if you hit that like button. It's free to do so and it helps the channel get promoted. And make sure if you have not yet subscribed to please go ahead and subscribe. All right, thanks everyone. I'm FiddlinJonny, and remember to keep fiddling around with your magic. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.